All right, this is it. We're live. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, guys.
And,
Hey,
Who's that guy?
we got Papa Pete joining us for our big movie show. All excited. This is awesome.
right on.
And
He was afraid to miss out.
That's right.
and in true Papa Pete fashion, we're going to show off our beer. Urban Underdog.
Oh, right on. Urban Underdog. Perfect. Got a Yingling. I'm having a 9 Locks Harvest Pumpkin Ale.
That's
5.2%. Perfect for the season.
sweet.
This doesn't even list it. I thought they were required to list it.
Does that mean for the rest of the show we have to call you Pumpkin?
Pumpkin Pete.
Pumpkin.
Oh, wait, I forgot to play the music while we pour the beer.
There we go.
Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. Pete, Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. If you haven't grown up by the age of 15, you don't have to.
Cheers. I
Cheers.
should've brought my glass. I forgot to get my glass.
Excellent. No, that's the way to start a show.
Beautiful. But hey, as far as that pumpkin comment goes,
Yeah, Pumpkin.
because if you call me pumpkin, afterwards you'll be calling me a serial killer. So
Oh! Oh, you're so dead. You picked the right night.
yeah, that's right. Hey, Halloween, man.
You know,
Yeah.
we have a lot of breweries here in town. We should do like a local beer exchange at some point.
Yeah.
That'd be
We got-
good.
I mean,
I'll tell you what's a real pain about that, as I'd love to do it but I'm in Canada, and it's not as easy to do in Canada, right? Because you can't ship that across. You can't ship any. So, great idea though, and I wish I could, but
Oh, well.
oh well.
we'll just
I
get
don't
a
think
cardboard
we-
cutout of you and just have it sitting there as we do it. Because I've got like 3 breweries right by me right here.
Unreal. Like, is it like here? We're small, okay? There's how many people in St. Louis? Like 2 million around the area.
The area, it's like, what is it, 2.5, 3 million?
Hmm.
The
All
city's real small. It's like 350,000. But
Yeah.
St. Louis is, as far as I know, it's only one of 2 cities that are big that separates the city from the county.
Okay. Yeah.
So like Chicago, it's all one thing. If you combine St. Louis, we're like somewhere around 3 million. So it's actually fairly big.
Here's
Hey.
some Slappy right
Slappy.
there. I tell you, I saw that the latest Slappy Marsden production, the Orange Halloween Amico, was
Oh,
incredible.
great.
And just to let you know, I'm going to steal your creations down again, Slappy, and use them on my Facebook page down again. But I'll always give you credit because they're such good artwork.
Right.
We should, as many people should see them as possible because they're great.
Oh,
Great.
So I know you guys are probably way bigger movie fans than me. I was just at Stewart's and he had a whole wall full of movies.
We call it the wall of shame.
Well, all we could do is, I know we got talking there a couple weeks ago. I was in the chat and we had so much fun talking about the 80s movies.
Yeah, and I got a whole stack of stuff to talk about.
Right on. So, man, that's just like, you can't have any structure. You just got to start rolling, right?
That's right. That's right. So just real quick, the first question I'm going to ask is, what did you guys think, or what do you think, if you've seen many of them, with the Universal Monsters movies? Have you seen any of those? Many of those? None of those?
Are you talking about the old ones from like the 40s?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to watch those on Saturdays after Abbott Costello.
Yeah.
Channel 11 here would show like Abbott Costello or Laurel and Hardy, and then they'd follow up with sometimes they'd have like a Dracula or Frankenstein.
Wolfman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love them. I have watched them all over the years. I've seen them all at least once. Oh yeah, right there. I can remember when I was a kid, like my brothers and sisters were, my next youngest to me was 12 when I was born. Okay, so 12, 16, and 18.
Yeah.
And I can remember them talking about them, and my cousins were all older, it seemed. Them talking about the horror movies, like, oh, Frankenstein's going to be on TV and Dracula's going to be on TV, and talking about, and it was the stakes the steaks by the fire or something like that. And I can remember being a 5-6-year-old kid thinking like they had steaks and they cut up people and make steaks and cook them. They used to scare the bejesus out of me without even seeing them when I was a kid. But that's just from listening to the older kids talk about them all the time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
funny.
all-
We're gonna do horror movies and stuff like that, and I do love them, and I'm incredibly intrigued by them. But I was the biggest wimp when I was a kid for watching them. It's unbelievable.
Well, let me do this. Of course, when I was a kid, these were the things that were happening. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
so I watched the crap out of these, and there were certain ones that were scary to me, like the green ghosts in the mansion when they had the family, and Scooby was one of the possible heirs. And those green ghosts were creepy. I mean,
Yes, they were. Yeah.
And then the space, the astronaut with the skull face, and
Yeah.
the
one the bell diver, with
the bell diver.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those were scary. 1970.
and
I don't think they can get away with that today.
Good old Rankin and Bass with the stop action
What's that one called?
Mad Monster Party.
I've never
Was
heard of
that
that.
on TV?
Yes, made
I
for
do not
television.
remember that at all.
No, I
But
don't either.
It has Phyllis Diller.
Oh my god.
Phyllis Diller.
The thing about it is it's kind of disjointed. That's the only thing. I need to watch. I'll watch it with you, Jeff. We'll sit down and watch it.
So that's
It's
a DVD there. Okay. That's a DVD, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was a book at first.
and of course,
Yeah.
the Great Pumpkin. It even had its little suspense moment.
So okay. You went down that path. What's your comment on the situation with It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown now? Do you know
Oh,
what
I
I'm
don't know
talking about?
Is there a controversy?
There's a little bit of a controversy because Disney Plus got the rights. It is no longer going to be shown on broadcast on network TV every Halloween. You can watch it only on Disney Plus.
I heard they're doing that with the Christmas show too.
There you go.
You know what? I don't care because let's put it this way: they're not that expensive. I own it. I can watch it whenever I want. And network, I'm sorry. No, I'll say it. Who the hell really wants to watch it on a network television
a
and
good
watch
point.
commercials?
Yeah.
I mean, as if we hadn't had enough of that. I mean, does nobody realize how 8-track tapes are the worst? But right next to it is FM radio. I mean,
Yeah. I look at it. I see people commenting. I saw 2, 3, 4 different people comment on Facebook how, that's terrible. They're now not going to show it on broadcast TV anymore. And I thought, yeah, that's not something that I think to myself. Hold it. When the hell is the last time I watched it? It's not like I watch it every Halloween. I haven't watched it in 35 years, or probably once with the kids. And then they didn't watch it when they were growing up because they were into different things. It was something. It's more for the memory of growing up, looking forward to it every year. The reality of it is that'll never happen again because the accessibility of all these shows, whether it's Disney Plus or DVD or whatever, it's just never going to be the same as when we were kids. And you could only see it that one night a year when CBS had it on. And
That's
all
right.
three of us right here, probably everybody in the chat as well, can hear that sound of their mind when that CBC was like a rumbling drum or something would roll in and it would say a CBS special presentation.
yes.
It would be like Frosty the Snowman or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
Frosty the fucking Snowman.
That was on a-
The things you know what? I guess we have to make a drinking game out of that now. Every time we drop an F-bomb, you got to take a drink.
Here's to it.
all right.
Why do I feel this is going to be a
Get the
really
swear water,
dirty
I'll get thirsty.
going to be wasted by the time we get done. And this is really good. If anybody likes Scooby-Doo, and I
Right.
love Kiss, I'm a Kiss freak. This is
Scooby-Doo
really
and
well
Kiss.
done.
I've never heard of that either.
Yeah, and it's Blu-ray because it's new. I mean, it came out just not too long ago, and my eyesight sucks enough right now that I can't see what year it was actually. But I was like, yeah, I'll get it because it's Kiss and it's Scooby, and I got to do it, and it was good.
What if it was, what if it was
I never
Kids
saw it.
Scrappy Doo? Would you still have gotten it?
No, because see, it's now it's just Crappy Doo. It's really
Crappy
it should have been called Crappy Doo.
Scrappy was the worst.
Now, this is where it kind of got started for me. Movies, when we're talking about movies, we're talking about the old classics. But like you said, Jeff, we didn't see those originally at a theater or anything. We saw them on TV, right? And this,
Yep.
do you see the top?
The Night Stalker.
Yes. So this is Dan Curtis, who did Dark Shadows. And Pete, when you're talking about being a wimp, that was me. My mom, actually, I found a card. My mom, God bless her soul, she got me a card one year, and I was just looking at it. I found it in my bedroom the other day, and I thought I had it right here. And it has a little boy behind a chair. That was me. I was hiding while my brothers were watching Dark Shadows, which was a Dan Curtis film. And this was the Norlis tapes, where it had Angie Dickinson in it.
Okay.
And
This
is a statue that he was making, and this is the husband who's dead.
Wait, let me flip that. He's
And
dead.
then this guy plays a reporter who has a bunch of tapes. And this film scared the crap out of me.
What year is that?
This was 73.
Wow.
So then they put this out.
What's that
You
one?
remember Kolchak, the Night Stalker,
I do remember Kolchak.
right? And so these are the two movies they did of that. This one scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. It's the Vampire Show.
Yeah.
And then you can see from $6 Million Man, Oscar.
Yep.
He is
The grumpy old bastard from A Christmas Story.
yeah. He was the Night Strangler. Was Oscar was the Night Strangler.
Okay.
So that was the movie. Then they did the series. So these are the movies that I was watching. And the only other one that I don't have to show, but it's on our backdrop, is Trilogy of Terror with Karen Black.
That's the one with the little creature running around. Absolutely. I've seen that. I've not seen the movie itself. Is it on Tubi?
Oh, I don't know, but I just watched it on Amazon.
Hey, on Amazon. Well, I got Amazon too. Well, but our Amazons are different here. Tubi seems to be about the same, but Amazon is typically a little bit different, same as our Netflix are different.
Okay.
We get a few things that you guys don't, and vice versa, right?
Right.
But
Right.
I'll check it out. I do want to watch that some night. Just flip it on while I'm doing some work, whatever like that, just to say I've seen it, because I've seen the clip of that little guy running around.
Dude, she does a great job. There's 3 stories, and every story is named for a woman that she plays. So the first one is Julia. The second one is Therese and something. I cannot remember the other girl's name.
Oh, wow.
And then the Amelia is the last one with the little doll, the tribal doll.
You know, it always seems like you find these movies and you learn about, or hear about these movies that are 30 years old that you never saw before. And well, eventually you're going to see them all. But no, there's always something new. There's always something you haven't seen.
Just on Tubi alone, you could spend all day just browsing the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a dumb question. I found Tubi since COVID. Okay. I'd never looked at it. Since March, when I was spending so much time sitting here, we just watched a lot of movies. And how long has Tubi been around?
I don't know, but it did sound like you said we watch a lot of boobies. So how long has Tubi been around? I don't know.
Are good movies too, but
yeah, right.
I've only known about it for like a year or so. I
Okay.
can't imagine it's been around that much longer.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, but I almost find everything I watch on it is old schlocky horror movies.
That's interesting because I just bumped into it. I just found it on the Amazon stick. That's where I saw it.
Okay, yeah.
Do they have any big movies on there, or is it just pretty much all small time stuff?
Every once in a while, you'll see one pop up that you think is quite mainstream, but it's kind of at random, and it's never like brand new. But you sort of think, "Oh, I wouldn't expect to see that on there." But that's about it. But
it's free, so it's hard to complain.
if you exactly, and the
Right.
commercials, there are commercials, but they aren't even noticeable. They're so infrequent. Knock on wood, they stay that way.
And it's about a minute and a half too. It's not like a 5-minute break,
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
which is nice. So, Pete, I'm curious what some of your favorite horror movies are.
Well, I would back. I would
Ones
back.
to go back to and watch.
Okay. I'm going to say a movie that stuck with me my whole life. When I was quite young, I was probably 10, 12 when I first saw it. That scared the bejesus out of me was Carrie by Stephen King with Sissy Spacek. And one thing that I never forgot was when that hand come up out of the ground and grabbed her.
It's
Yeah.
like hands in, and then you're like, what is going on?
She's putting the flowers down by the cross, and the hand just sort of comes up. And I always envision like snatches right up. And I've watched it obviously since, but the first time I watched that movie again since I was a kid was probably only 2 years ago. And the hand actually does sort of a rock move that it comes up and grabs.
Right.
It's not even fast, but I tell you, how effective was that? So
Yeah.
when something can stick with you for that many years, that's an effective movie. So I always had to really think whoever made that did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Oh, really quick, Stuart, you asked me to ask my dad about how he liked Sunset Boulevard,
Yes.
and I just want to say he came up with a pretty interesting review technique here. So I asked him how he liked it, and he reeled off everyone that was in it, and
Like he does.
he knows everyone that was in it. And he said they had a lot of great actors and actresses in that movie. He said he didn't really care that much for it. He said it was okay.
Yeah.
But then he said, he goes, I've seen it 2 or 3 times. And he said, I might watch it once every 10 years. And I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting review system.
Once
How
every,
often will you watch it? Once every 10 years.
he's got a 10-year pile. I'll just
I like that. It's kind of funny.
It is. I really enjoyed it. It's just strange how I got to know it. Just very strange. And here's the thing about horror films too, is they span. I mean, you've got it depends on what you call horror, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, some movies can socially be horrible, and some of them can be science fiction-y horrible. And others can just be horrible, but it depends. I mean, and then some of them can be funny and horror.
Yeah.
I
I watched one of those this week.
Yeah. What'd you see?
I can't remember where I first heard of it, but it's been fairly recent. I think I actually came across it when I was looking to do the films of the cultural films I decided to do for the Papa Mosley review. And this one didn't quite make the cut because it wasn't quite enough gore for me. But it was called The Stuff. And it was
Stuff.
The
I
Stuff.
remember.
And what got me it's really it's from 1985. It came out 3 days before I graduated from high school or something, right around that time. And it's about this marshmallow fluff stuff that goes up out of the ground. Somebody finds it, starts mining it and shipping it off for people to eat. Gets it all across the country. Nobody can resist it, and it basically turns them inside out and stuff and gives mind control. It's interesting as hell. It is schlocky, it's cheap, it's unbelievable, and it stars Michael Moriarty, who is the guy from Law and Order, the start of Law and Order, who also was in Q, which I just watched recently too.
Wow.
Quetzalcoatl, you ever seen that? The Flying Dragon in New York City. It's pretty bizarre too. And Michael Moriarty's in it, who's actually from here in Atlantic Canada. What surprised me the most, one of the guys who played the cops in the first year or two of Law and Order popped up in the same B movie right towards the end. So I thought, okay, there's some sort of relationship here between Law and Order and these chintzy movies, right? So I thought that was hilarious.
Well, and that's like this one.
Take a look. Oh,
there's a classic.
That is a classic.
And it goes along with what you just said about that one, right? Where it's a little schlocky, but doggone it. It's John Carpenter, for crying out loud.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the man that brought us this.
The Thing.
So there's a moment where I forget Carpenter did this,
Yeah,
but that's the reason why this movie works.
It is so different. It's a different style of movie than
Piper.
anything else he did. It's phenomenal. It's, mind you, I watch it. I can remember I have it. I have it right. It's right there too, and I haven't watched it probably in a couple years. But Roddy Piper carries himself in that movie and has such a personality that your memories of the movie actually end up being larger than the movie really is, because the movie doesn't have much of a beginning and it doesn't really have much of an end. It's just sort of what goes on. It never says how it comes to be, and it never says where it goes afterwards. It's just
that's interesting.
It's very strange. Like, it's wide open. If they wanted to make prequels, they could. If they wanted to make sequels, they could. But anyway,
maybe we should do that.
there you go. There'd be at least a half dozen people who watch. Actually, no, there'd be millions of people.
There'd be millions. Yeah,
people love that movie,
especially if you do a good job with it.
Unfortunately, Roddy Piper's not here anymore to do it, and he made that movie.
No, but we could use John Cena.
Okay.
Pete, just off topic here, but on Tubi, I saw they have a wrestling category, and it's it's a lot of was it UFC, but there is some wrestling stuff in there, and it's like, I guess, old pay-per-view they threw on there.
Really, I have not noticed it on mine. I'll take a look. That licensing may be different too, right?
Oh, that's true.
Licensing system may be different for that as well, because I've never noticed it on my Tubi.
Huh.
You know what we need, though? A category of just wrestling movies. Friend of mine, I'll call him a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. I talk to him all the time on Facebook, and or often, just casually. When he comes up around this area, I usually go to the events and meet him. His name is Richie Acevedo, and he is in West Virginia. And he's a Cuban assassin #2. His father was a Cuban assassin who wrestled in Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling and Calgary Stampede Wrestling, as well as other territories as well. He was infamous in the Canadian territories, but he was a rather small man. He would have been about 30, 35 when the WWF sort of the territories ended, and that could be great character, but just not the physique for it. Okay. Anyway, this is his son. And he made a movie, which I gotta buy, called Wrestle Massacre. And it's about wrestlers, and it's just a gore fest. And I've yet to pick it up, but it's on Amazon. Write it down, Wrestle Massacre. And as God is my witness right now, I'm going to have that movie the next week or so. Well, I say that. If I can get it in the Canadian Amazon, because right now I can't get anything from the States easily. So, but Wrestle Massacre. So... But any kind of wrestling category, wrestling movies would be fantastic.
I was a big fan of The Wrestler with
Mickey Rourke.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Absolutely.
I like a lot of their documentaries about wrestlers, especially from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Like Jake the Snake has done one. I think he's had a couple of documentaries.
Yeah. And we just talked about the Andre the Giant.
Oh, that's a good one too.
The HBO one? The HBO one, right?
I think so.
It was very, very good. Yeah.
And then there's a free one on YouTube for the Iron Sheik.
That is, would I have access to that? I did the crowdfunding, whether it was Indiegogo or Kickstarter or whatever, for the Iron Sheik one. And I ended up, it was probably 3 years. I'd forgotten all about it. I got my perk and I got my movie in the mail. I have it here somewhere, but it's on Amazon right now. The Sheik.
Oh. Wow.
It's really good, isn't it, Jeff?
It's really good because to be honest, I kind of assumed he wasn't even Iranian, because a lot of those guys with the accents, they're not even from that country. They're just playing a part. But he actually was a wrestler in Iran, and there's a pretty big dude over there. And he ended up coming here, and his daughters were saying it was such an odd thing because he was so proud to be an American, yet he was playing this guy who hated America as a wrestler. Right. And they said it got kind of rough for him. Or they were like people would throw stuff at him. They really hated him. That's a little scary. Like now though, everything's switched. He's this guy that people just love now.
Well, he's like a Twitter god. Although
Yeah.
I wonder how his health is doing.
I don't know. In that documentary, he didn't look like he was doing too well.
Oh,
Oh,
I saw that out
that,
there.
if you haven't watched it, Stu, that is worth a watch, guys. I don't know who's in there. Hey, Erlu, how you doing, man? That's worth a watch for sure.
Wow.
And there's see the picture on the back there, him and The Rock.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Rocky Johnson was The Rock's dad. I used to watch him wrestle quite a bit.
He was big in the St. Louis. He's from Nova Scotia, Canada, right? He's from
Really?
here in Atlantic, Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, it's. Sorry, you keep talking. I'm just flipping. I'm going to see if I can find that picture real quick.
This nice. Thanks, Blake. Remind me to tell you about Blake. Yeah, that's a classic Captain America. I love that Captain America artwork. This is another one when I was a kid scared the crap out of me because I caught it on television. I didn't catch it in the theater.
Oh, that's a
Vincent
great
Price, Diana Rigg from the Avengers back in the day, and my dad loved that show when she was on it. So I've since gotten that for him on DVD. But Theater of Blood, he plays a Shakespearean actor.
And you said Vincent Price, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's
Let's say, look,
completely panned by the critics, and it's all about him getting revenge on all of his critics. And there's a twist. So
I always liked Vincent Price and pretty much everything he did.
I was like horror flicks, Theater of Blood. Fun facts.
Fun fact.
Who did that graphic?
I never looked it up, but I wonder how many movies Vincent Price made.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
There's the that came with it. In the DVD. So anyway, that's enough wrestling. Okay, we'll do wrestling some other night, right?
I could talk wrestling all night.
Jeff and I
Yeah,
talked
and
about that the other day. We said we can't get waylaid on the old wrestling because we love the old wrestling. Old wrestling.
So, do either one of you remember the movie? The first movie I ever remember seeing was something. We were at a movie drive-in theater, and I'm just going off my memory here. You're talking almost 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I believe it was called Arnold, and all I remember from it is it seemed. I think it was scary. I mean, I was a little kid, but I remember seeing where some guy gets run over by a train, and as the train leaves, you see his body just kind of laying there, and then it just kind of squishes in on the track.
Oh,
But
I do not remember that.
called Arnold?
I gotta look that up.
Yeah, look that up.
Because it was probably from like 73.
See, because would you consider this horror?
No, I wouldn't.
I would say,
A lot of people do.
Or do you call it action and adventure?
It's suspense, like action and adventure. Really, it's not a horror movie.
Well, some of the stuff that happens is horrid. Like
Correct.
when he's underwater and he's kind of under that boat, and all of a sudden bleh, this head comes out with an eye popped out,
Yeah,
and he's like, bleh, you're like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been kind of wondering. I'm like, there are horror aspects to some of these films.
there are. You're absolutely right because there's no clear-cut line between all these different genres.
right.
Right. I
You know,
mean,
they're going to bleed into each other, and that's a definite example of one that's
Yeah, I did find the movie. It's Arnold, 1973.
73.
It says comedy, horror, mystery. Listen to this. Upon his death, Arnold marries his lover Karen in spite of his widow and leaves death traps accompanied by audio tapes and his preserved and articulate corpse for those who cared only for his money.
So it's like the original Saw or something.
I guess so. Roddy McDowell's in it.
Roddy
Wow.
Paul.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, he doesn't even have top billing. Interesting.
Snap. Because that's about when what was that, like 3 years after the Planet of the Apes? Didn't Planet of the Apes start in 69?
First one was 68.
68. Yeah.
68. Okay.
Yeah.
I love the whole series of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy. Some of them get pretty trippy.
You say Arnold, it reminds you of Willard.
Oh yeah, with the rat.
That's
Yeah,
what I was thinking.
What was the original movie called Willard as well, or just the one with Crispin Glover? Was there a different name for
Well,
the
there
two?
was Ben. No, I think there was
There
two.
were
I think there was
different
Ben
rat
and
movies,
Willard.
wasn't there?
But it was Willard with Crispin Glover was a remake of another one, but I don't think it was called Willard. It was called Ben.
You sure?
I'm not sure. No,
I was thinking that there was maybe. I know Ben existed because I actually have the paperback novel from
is it
that.
Michael Jackson sing the theme song to it?
All right. There's a Willard from 1971,
See, that was so.
Okay.
Then when was Ben? Ben was after that then.
and that's with Ernest Borgnine.
Yes, Ernest Borgnine. He was the boss, and he the guy's boss, and he sent his minions after him.
And then Ben was the next year, 1972.
So it was the sequel. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
But have you watched those? Either of you watched either of those?
I did when I was
watched
a kid, but that's a
I watched
long
the one with Crispin Glover I saw years ago. It was
You did see that one? Yeah, I never saw. I don't know if I've seen any of them front to back.
it was nothing incredibly memorable. It was almost like he is more memorable as a character than anything else about the situation. When you
Right.
put a guy like that into a situation like that, it's like he stood out.
Right.
But the movie itself was okay,
Yeah.
right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Crispin
Interesting.
Glover is definitely a character.
Oh yes, I haven't heard "Hide Your Hair" of him in a long time.
No, I just watched the Back to the Future trilogy,
Yep.
and then I watched a documentary about Back to the Future, and I was like, whatever happened to that guy? I don't remember him doing anything since Back to the Future.
Well, the one big thing about him is that a lot of people thought he was dead. I thought he was dead. I think there was a rumor out there that he was dead.
Well, that usually ends your career right there.
You'd think, but then he did.
People don't know you're alive.
He did. He did. I'd have seen his movies, but I thought he was dead.
Yeah, how about Crispin Glover for this role? Ah, he's dead. Oh, okay.
He's dead.
You don't
No,
give
no,
any
no, no.
callbacks, right?
He's still alive. Wait, what? And then, of course, these were some of my favorites. One of my favorite Draculas, Christopher Lee.
Okay, yeah. Horror of Dracula.
And then there's a classic oldie, and I got to bring up music too because I'm a music head. So Ray Milland played the man with the X-ray eyes, and Blue Oyster Cult on the album Heaven Forbid did a song about this called "The Man with the X-ray Eyes." Do not envy the man with the X-ray eyes. In the 50s, Ray Milland pierced the skies. So yeah, it's a great song, which makes me think of this rock and roll horror movie. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this.
Trick or Treat, long time ago. I don't know if I think I did see it way back when.
Fastway did the soundtrack. It's amazing. Who else is in the movie? Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
And this guy that we've all seen a million times. And this guy from Family Ties, Skippy.
Skip it.
So, oh yeah, there's Ozzy again. Yeah.
Forgot all about Skippy.
Yeah.
Well,
So, what would you say is your favorite, like, horror series? You know, like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, stuff like that.
I'm going to say Friday the 13th for me right now for mainstream series. I've watched most of those. Halloween, my favorite of the whole bunch for movies is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, to tell you the truth.
Shut your mouth.
That, I love it. That
1982. Are you kidding me? It had nothing to do with it.
I know, but I just like the movie. And it was the perfect timing for me to be watching it, be into it, and enjoying it. Right? That's a lot of it too, right? Timing's everything, right?
You are cracking me up with that.
Was Jamie Lee Curtis in it?
No, it had nothing to do with anything else.
Oh, can't think of the guy's name right off the top of my head. I'm sitting there looking at him and the girl, and what the hell's his name?
God. Oh my God.
Can't remember the guy's name. He's in all kinds of movies. You see him in MASH. He was in horror.
Mike
Minus Rob. No,
Halloween 3?
no, he wasn't in MASH as a star. He's guest starring roles different times. And this is somebody who I could tell you 9 times out of 10. I just can't think of right the second. I'm going to find it though because I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, this is the actual movie. I don't like this cover. I'd really like to I need to come up with another cover, and it's one of these where it's in a plastic DVD jewel case. It's really weird. But then later they came out with another Trick or Treat that had nothing to do with this. But then speaking of music, there you go.
Tom Atkins. Yeah.
Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins. And Stacy Nelkin was the girl. But it was all about, absolutely nothing to do with the other Halloween movies. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Everybody was like, ooh, a new Halloween.
Oh,
It was produced by John Carpenter, but he didn't direct it.
No, I just saw a clip the other day, like a picture somewhere on Facebook, I'm sure, of a promo still with Tom Atkins and the girl standing there with the mask beside them at the store display. It's just so neat. I can still. You talk about the things that stick with you, right? And it always stuck with me when the family is locked into that room and they play the commercial and the kids put the masks on and the heads turn into spiders and snakes and lizards and all the stuff and crawl out everywhere and kill everybody. It's like, saw it at 13 and I forgot it. Never. So,
That's my favorite answer of all time. Oh my gosh.
that is Mr. Rich Haywood.
And of course, when I was a kid, this came on television at Halloween time.
Okay.
The film itself, if you watch the original, it's like bad. It's cheesy. It's ugly. You can tell the stunt guys from the band. Sometimes the band didn't show up. Some of the guys from the band, like pretty much Peter Criss.
Yeah.
And you can tell they've gotten some African-American guy playing Peter Criss as his stunt man. And you're like, that is not Peter Criss. But I will tell you, when they did it in Japan knew how, speaking of Jeff and the games in Japan, this movie, when you watch the version they did in Japan, they took a bunch of the music from the solo records from 1978 and put it into the dead spots. And it actually makes it a little more entertaining. I watched it and I'm like, oh, I really like it with this music behind it, because these are some of my favorite songs from the solo stuff. Anybody seen this? Jeff, have you had a chance to see this yet?
Phantom of the Paradise? No.
Yeah, I just gave Jeff a copy to take home with him, and that's yours to keep, Jeff. And that's, that is.
I can't tell. No.
He's the little star from Smokey and the Bandit.
Little star.
Paul Williams.
Paul Williams.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I never saw this when I was a kid, but I knew of it. And I had pictures of this guy in the mask, and I'd seen it a million times. And I'm like, I really want to see it. Finally, there it was, and I watched it. And it's great. Paul Williams, of course, writes all the music. This guy you saw in Used Cars with Kurt Russell. That's the dude that can't drive a red car. Is that right? And he's terrific in this movie. But this goes along with some of the humor stuff that comes in horror. Like, there's humor in this movie. You ever seen this?
No.
George Wendt. William Catt.
Cheers.
Richard Mall.
The superhero guy.
Yeah.
Wait, Richard Mall? Oh, is that Bull from
Yes.
Night Court?
Yeah. And Kay Lenz.
I don't know who that is.
You never saw this, huh? Oh man, it's terrific. It is spooky scary. The second one, horrible. But that one, fantastic.
You get talking about cars. Oh, what do you got?
Oh, this.
Lance just said we played this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
It's just really short. It's like 50 seconds. It's just so funny.
Whoa! That guy scares the crap out of him.
That's beautiful.
He gets mad.
Oh, jeez. That was great.
So Michael Myers. Beautiful.
This is another one that had some humor in it, too.
I love that movie. That would
Yeah.
be one of my other ones that I bring up most of all about memorable because
Yeah.
I remember for whatever reason. Of course, it's pretty big around here because it was big news with Stephen King was always big around this area being from here or not far away, right?
Right.
And I can remember when it came out. That was 82 as well, was it not, Stu?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And,
We just mentioned it a couple weeks ago.
Right. So I was like 13 and I went down for whatever reason that night. I stayed at my sister's place and I went down to the theater, which is on the American side here, and watched that movie. And of course, had to walk home.
Yeah.
Scared the bejesus out of myself. Another one of those things you always remember. And I've watched that movie many times since, mind you.
I would say it's funny, like when you get scared as a kid. Oh, Lost Boys. I love that one.
Yeah.
Just watched that for the first time about 2 months ago.
No way.
Great movie. Yeah, it was one of my wife's all-time favorites.
They have 3 of them.
Yeah, I had never watched any of them, and it's one of my all-time favorite, wife's all-time favorites. So we sat down and watched it here, like I say.
There's 3 Lost Boys?
What? Yeah.
I've never even heard of anything about the first one.
No, they've got 2 more. One of them's called The Tribe, I think, and then there's another one.
Oh, okay. Well, it's different names. I wouldn't have recognized it.
Ted Danson. There's just a lot of good stars in Creepshow, right? Ted Danson, Leslie Nielsen. I don't know what I was watching. Oh, the AVGN. They did a thing on Movie Madness, the little 3-minute clip about Creepshow, and they said about how unusual it was to see Leslie Nielsen do a serious role. So all he was ever known for is comedy. When truth be known, he was never known for comedy until 1980 in The Airplane. Before
And he was always the straight man, right?
Actor. And
he was always the straight man.
that was back to normal for him to be in Creepshow like that. I think he did a great job too. But Adrian Barbeau, Hal Holbrook, he was like Eli Wallace. Is that who the guy at the Wood Room was? But great actors in that movie too. You know, it's too bad the second one just didn't live up to it. The second one wasn't.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like kind of Cat's Eye didn't stack up either.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
this one. Yeah, you were going to say something. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Oh, real quick on Halloween 3, was Michael Myers in that?
No,
No.
had nothing to do with the other films.
Who was
You're
the
right.
bad guy?
There was the bad guy was a guy who owned this factory that produced Halloween masks with a tiny little sliver of Stonehenge in each mask. And when they played this certain song on Halloween, they brainwashed everybody, and it would kill them all. It was pretty bizarre.
Don't call me Shirley. Lance, you got some good ones tonight. This was another film that had a few, moments in it where it was snarky because it's Quentin Tarantino, and my goodness, why can't I say her name now? She was amazing.
Jennifer,
No,
Killers. Oh, Salma Hayek.
yes,
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Juliette
So
Lewis,
these-
the other girl.
Have you seen these?
I have seen Shaun of the Dead for sure. Yeah, I've tried Hot Fuzz. I didn't get the whole way through that yet, and World's End I've not even heard of.
World's End is a lot of fun. I watched them all. I think, last year I watched them all. I bought this and it took me a while, and then I finally watched them all and just had a lot of fun with those.
You were saying before about was it Dawn of the Dusk from Dusk Till Dawn?
Yes.
I want to talk about a left turn movie. That's what I'm
Mhm.
going to call that, because a movie that starts down one path and then halfway through it just does a complete 90 degrees and goes right off into the horror vampire binge, because you don't even, if you didn't know that was coming, half hour into it, you would never suspect it. And
Right.
then it goes right off. It's just amazing.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yes, they are brilliant.
I have
Yes.
a hard time watching vampire movies.
Do
You
you?
have a hard time doing that?
We went to the theater to watch. There was like a renaissance of vampire movies probably 20 years ago. I can't remember what the movie was. It was really popular, but in the movie, when the guy went to bite somebody, you could hear like a little crunch sound, and you'd see the blood. And I'm like this through half the movie. I'm like this. Like, someone getting me a cold towel. I'm going to pass out pretty soon. There was just something about that, because I mean, normally blood in a movie I don't care about because I don't. But something about the crunching and the blood coming out, I was like, oh.
That sounds like about the time of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then the
That's
Interview
the
with
one.
the Vampire come out. And
Yes,
stuff like that,
that's
the late
it.
80s, early 90s.
Yeah, with Gary
That was
Oldman, you mean?
Yep. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I was just reading somewhere recently where people are like, why isn't this film still more popular, still very popular?
Which one? The Bram Stoker?
Yeah, the Dracula, yeah, with Gary Oldman. Because
There have been so many of them, though. I mean, I can remember the first one I really remember that was made in my lifetime
Mhm.
was with Frank Langella. It was just called Dracula.
Yes.
When I remember
Yes.
Frank Langella, I'd say that was probably 78 or 79, but it seems like every 10 years or so there was one made. But
Yeah.
now, when's the last time there was a vampire Dracula movie made, though?
There's another vampire one right there.
That's a great movie. That was, again, it had that comic twist, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with Roddy McDowell in it too.
Yeah.
Hey, did
Yeah.
you guys see? I'm sure you have a Blair Witch.
Yes, I have
I've watched enough of it to say I've seen it.
Funny story. My wife and I went to go. We were with my parents. We went to go see a movie, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. But it was sold out. So we're like, well, what else can we see? The only thing available was Blair Witch. And we're asking each other, anyone know what this is about? And like, nope. I had no clue what it was. So we go in there, and it's actually packed. They sold out eventually. We go in there, we're watching it. And as I start going into it, it's like getting really creepy. I told my wife, I said, is this real? I said, what are we watching? Is this a documentary? Is this? It's like, I can't even tell. And it had me on the edge of my seat because, I mean, not a whole lot really happened in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, there was no gore, nothing terrible, but there was just something about it because it was so real. And you picture yourself out in the woods all alone, just you and two other people.
Right.
And you think there's someone out there, you'd be scared shitless.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can still remember when that was big in the theaters and such. I can remember being at work and student workers and stuff were kicking around and them talking about this movie. And for whatever reason, again, these conversations you don't forget, and how they were saying one was trying to convince the other one, no, it's real. It was a documentary. They really found this stuff. And she was totally convinced it was all real. And that was why it did what it did, because there was always that doubt. There was always that thought, even in the mind, back of the mind of the most rational person who realized it was made. It was presented in a way that, well, I suppose it could be, right? And that's why it was driven to such massive success, because you had your people who were like easy to convince, and then you had your people who, even the most logical of person, would look at it and go, well, wow, they're making it really look like it is real.
Yeah, you're like,
and that's also why, after that fact, you're not going to be able to replicate that situation. So I'm sorry, Blair Witch 2 was a bad idea, but the first one, oh my God, what did they spend? They made like it cost like $10,000 to make or something foolish like that. They made $350 million.
That's amazing.
So there's like almost no production value there. I mean, it's just three people in the woods with a camcorder at the time.
Yeah.
But it was just so cool seeing that movie without knowing anything about it, because I spent the whole movie trying to figure out what the hell what's going on here. Is this real?
That's the way it should always be.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, remember they interviewed like the parents of the three people disappeared, and some of the parents looked exactly like the actors, and I was wondering, did they actually get the actors' parents to come
Maybe.
and talk? Because there was one of, I don't know if it was the woman, maybe, but one of them had a parent. They looked like they were identical. I was like, and that's when it was, because at that point I was like, well, okay, this isn't real anymore. But then they brought those people on. I'm like, well, now what the heck? Are they their real parents? Did they actually go with their real parents from the actors? It was crazy.
With the production of that, it's very likely that they did.
Probably so. Yeah.
To the set, we're going to do a scene with them, pay them $100, and they'll be 15 minutes and out of here. So they probably did, but it really add to it, didn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
I know that one was.
Well, that's like the paranormal films that came out. They looked
Paranormal
real.
Activity. Yeah.
Those were that first one. Ooh, man.
There was
Just the way they filmed those is just really.
I don't know if I saw a horror film. There was one that was based with aliens. And it took place in Alaska. And the name of the movie may be based on a city name up there. I can't remember. But it was about an abduction and stuff. And at the beginning part, it was like a documentary. And it was the same thing. I was like, well, this isn't real, is it? And we're watching, and some of it seemed real. But then they got to a part where they had like recorded voices of the aliens or something. I said, okay. Now I know it's not real, because as much as I love talking aliens, I would have heard about this story.
Right.
I was certain it wasn't real at that point.
Yeah.
And it kind of got worse after that. But
Pulling out the disc, I got one that I don't know if you've ever heard of. Maybe you have. I found the DVD come out years ago, and I grabbed it because I used to watch it on TV when I was a kid. And it was just simply called The Car.
The Car.
The Car.
Do you remember
Yeah.
that
Who's
one?
in that?
James Brolin.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was it was a lot like Christine. And it was kind of like Duel as well. Remember Duel, the very first
Another Stephen King, yeah.
yeah, but this one was just so creepy as hell. You never saw who was in it. It was another movie that when it came out to the theaters around 75, I think. Of course, me being out around my older cousins and stuff, we'd all gone to the theater to see it, trying to tell me all about it and scare me.
Yeah.
I always wanted to see this movie, and I saw it probably when it was on TV. I was about 13 or 14, and it's pretty scary. So it's one of these movies that I just had to have. So is it a great movie? Well, I wouldn't call it a great movie, but it's definitely worth a watch.
But it's nostalgic to you.
It's nostalgic to me. And that's what everybody's favorite movies are, nostalgic to some point.
Yep. I had to watch this nostalgia piece the other day.
Salem's Lot.
I've never watched.
It's got Hutch in it.
Oh, from Starsky and Hutch?
Yeah.
David
and
Cole.
James
David
Mason.
Cole.
James Mason is in it too.
Oh, wow.
And then they remade it, and who played David Soul's part? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Starsky.
Oh, Michael Glazer.
That's awesome. No,
Uh,
that's funny.
that would have been great.
That would have been great. No, Rob Lowe played it.
Oh.
He was in it.
Okay, that's not Starsky.
No. But what a brilliant series this was. Oh, you're on to the serial killer.
So now it's Serial Killer.
Big Spruce. Yeah, this was a brilliant show. The later years I was, but overall though, what a great movie or television program with some great horror stuff in it. I mean, it was, and I enjoyed this. Speaking of vampires, with James, what I can't say it.
Isn't
James
that,
Woods.
John Carpenter as well. Excuse me, as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yep. And I really enjoyed it because I like James Woods. He's really snarky. He's really good.
I
Look at
can't
that.
drink my beer.
That's dark.
That's
That
dark.
is a dark. I almost pulled out one of the dark. Yingling makes a black and tan, and I almost brought it out. Now, if you want to laugh at the beginning of a vampire movie,
Yeah.
check out the sequel to this with John Bon Jovi.
Oh, wow.
His opening scene. I'm sorry, John. If you catch wind of this show, like the other millions of people watching,
I think I saw him in the chat earlier.
it was. Oh my gosh! You know what I heard about John Bon Jovi today?
Uh,
I heard that to make a deal with them, because one of our local musicians was working out a touring deal, and they would do it. So like they'd have a meeting with John, you'd have a meeting with John Bon Jovi, and then he'd be like, yeah, you give me so much, this much, rights to this song and blah, blah, blah. They wanted like part of their career in order to tour with them.
Jeez.
And he threw him out because he goes, no, man, I'm not doing that. And he said, get this fucking joker out of here. And you're like, what? You really want me to sell part of my career to you?
That's so weird.
So
See, OEB Pete saying not to diss John Bon Jovi because he's his favorite band ever.
Pete, John Bon Jovi, in doing that, disses himself. I am not doing anything. I'm just telling you what he did, and that's all.
You're just passing the diss along.
I'm passing his own self-diss.
So Pete slid in there, and so did Anthem. Hey guys,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a pretty good crew going here tonight.
right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
So now this one was another cool kind of piece of
Oh, Pan's Labyrinth.
Very
Yes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what I think is kind of interesting that they put Blade 2 and Hellboy on here, which those aren't high points for me. This movie right here is better than either of those films.
It's definitely more artistic. Blade 2 was not a bad movie.
Well, it
Blade
wasn't a
was okay. Blade 2 was good. Blade 3 sucked.
yeah. Blade was great.
What's that?
Blade was great.
Yeah, Blade 2 was pretty good. They did a good job with that. And Hellboy, the original Hellboy that brought out, obviously not the one that was just out last year or two,
Right.
but the very first one was pretty good.
It was pretty good. 2 was terrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there was something I was going to mention about that. Here's how I view Blade and Blade 2.
Okay.
Who's your favorite James Bond?
Mine is Roger Moore.
Okay, that's same as my friend Jeff. Do you watch much Bond?
Oh yeah, I've seen them all. I'll go with Sean Connery by a hair over Roger Moore.
I
like
go with.
Roger Moore a lot as well.
You know what's funny is I just looked behind you, Pete, and you have that hockey statue behind you. And remember, wasn't it in Moonraker where he had that scene where he took on a guy on the ice rink?
For Your Eyes Only.
Or For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah.
So the way I view Blade and Blade 2 is I like Sean Connery. But I view it like that. Like Blade 1 was Sean Connery, where you're like, shit, this dude might not make it.
Yeah.
But Blade 2 was like, this dude can't frickin' lose. I'm like, everything he does is golden. It's like, Daniel Craig was awesome. Is still awesome.
Yeah, it's like it's the same as other. The first ones that I saw were the ones that were out when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. They'd be big news. It was Roger Moore.
And that's my buddy Brad. He's the same way. Those are the ones he grew up with, and that's what he really likes.
I recognize it as a totally different style of movie than it was with either Sean Connery. Sean Connery would be my second because I went back and saw all the Sean Connery movies. I love them. I have them all somewhere.
Me too.
VHS and DVD, probably 3/4. And up until probably the Pierce Brosnan era, I had them all. Right up, but definitely through A View to a Kill. Definitely to that point. Timothy Dalton, maybe not. George Lazenby, absolutely. I mean, he only did the one for.
Who was supposed to?
Service.
Who was up for that role? I just heard it recently. Somebody was up for that role, and he couldn't do it because he was in something else, and so Lazenby. They got Lazenby.
David Niven fit into this whole thing. He was supposed to be a Bond at some point, wasn't he? Or he was. Something else?
You're absolutely right, but it wasn't him. Shoot.
All Bonds are good Bonds, Pete says. And you're right. Even Timothy Dalton. I agree. I've watched movies by all of them, and I've never watched a James Bond movie that I wasn't glad I watched. At the end of the day, that's what you want to see. If you had a good time for the 2 hours, I don't care who it is. It's good.
I'm
It's
going to have to
different
disagree.
For
I'm gonna have
You
to
Eyes Only is my all-time favorite James Bond movie, but it's timing. I've
Which
said it
one?
once. It's For Your Eyes Only. It's
Okay.
my all-time favorite. But I've never watched one I don't like. Never.
I did.
Which one?
I did. Take a guess.
Well, I think it's one of the newer ones because there was one or two in there. Like was it Goldeneye or just after Goldeneye for The Living Daylights or something like that?
No, actually, the one I really hate, all right. Pierce Brosnan, I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
My mom, when he first was going to get the role, my mom was pissed. She's like, he's such a wimp. And she was mad. And I'm like, yeah, but he bulked up a bit. And, he wasn't the same guy from Remington Steele. So that's what she thought she was going to get. But the one I hated was Skyfall.
Okay.
That was a piece of crap.
Is that Daniel Craig?
Yes. And I love Daniel Craig.
Second or third. I've got it here. I mean, I watched it.
I do too. I have it. I bought it in the box set. I got that big long box set they put out.
Yeah. I cannot tell. I can remember something about most of the Bond movies that I watched, and I can't remember a damn thing about Skyfall, to tell you the truth.
Remember, she's like up there and she's like, I've got the shot. I've got the shot. And she's like, take the shot. Well, then she takes the shot, and then the next thing you know, you're watching Daniel Craig's ass, and he's in his swimsuit, the camera shot, and he's walking along with a drink in his hand, and you're like, okay, point A to point B. I guess they're going to reveal this later, and they never do. And I'm like, so he just made it. How did he make it?
You know what? You've just talked me into watching a movie tomorrow, so I can dislike it.
Do yourself a favor.
Movie.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try to. Lance had a great question there. Who was the best Bond villain or Bond girl?
Yeah, that is a good
I'm
question.
gonna jump on that because
Now wait a minute. Are you going to jump on a Bond girl? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry.
Who?
I thought it was great. And I like Richard Kiel even more because of what he did in a couple movies. And that was The Longest Yard
Yes.
and also in friggin' Happy Gilmore. Those were awesome. Richard Kiel was the best of those two movies. I think I broke his fucking neck. Neck. I did. I broke his fucking neck.
Oh yeah, hey, yeah, thank you. Good call. Now wait a minute, because of my big yappy mouth, start over with what was the Bond? Did you say what was the first thing you said?
I read Lance Jennings has a comment on it. Who was the best Bond villain or Bond girl?
Right.
I said I'm gonna go first, and my favorite was Jaws, Richard Kiel.
Oh, okay.
But I almost like him better because of what he did. I loved him in those, but then when he turned around, he did those other two movies. The Longest Yard was a fabulous movie.
That was a good
one. The original one with Burt Reynolds is just excellent. You can watch that anytime. Eddie Albert, Green Acres, for Christ's sakes, a big clown.
Yeah.
And he was friggin' a dirt bag in Longest Yard, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Bond girl, though, Ursula Andrews.
That's what I was going to just say. Ursula Andrews.
Ursula Andrews was amazing.
Dr. No, right?
Yeah. And of course, what's her name? She was
Halle Berry, Odd Job. Yep. A lot of characters there. Halle Berry, of course.
She was in the classic. Why can't I say her name? She was in The Wicker Man with Edward Woodward. One of the toughest names to say.
Diana Rigg?
Huh?
Was it Diana Rigg? You're just talking
No,
about her?
but she was in. Was she in the one with Lazenby?
She was in a Bond movie.
I think she was in the one with Lazenby.
She just passed away here in the last year. She
Yeah, because she did Game of Thrones and then was done.
Yeah.
No, what's her name? Is it Bridget? Bridget. Yeah, it's Bridget. She was in Wicker Man. She got all naked in Wicker Man. Bridget something.
Well, Jeff's looking, right? Are you looking, Jeff?
Yeah, I was just looking up on Her Majesty's Secret Service to see if that was Diana Rigg, what you just said. But
So-
Telly Savalas was in that. How about that?
Yeah. He played the guy that didn't he like take over as the main bad guy? Blofeld? Didn't he play Blofeld in that?
Yes, you're right.
Yes. So he took
Blofeld.
over in that.
I always like these names in the Bond film. Odd Job, Blofeld.
Yeah.
Pussy galore.
Pussy galore.
Yep. Oh, I know one of the Bond girls that's probably one of my favorites was Famke Janssen.
Who's that?
Famke Janssen. She was in Goldeneye. She was the one that would strangle the guys with her legs because she'd get all sexy and then they would so yeah, Famke Janssen. I wanted her for a movie that I wanted to make. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway.
That's the oldest
I know
line.
exactly what you mean now. Britt Eklund.
Britt Eklund, thank
Britt
you.
Eklund. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. She was she was a different look. She wasn't your typical tall beauty, tall. She was more compact.
Yeah, and she had those big eyes.
Beautiful, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think Ursula was a little
Wow.
overall beauty.
Yeah.
But
That first scene in Dr. No where he runs into her on the beach. Yeah. Anyway, that's a little bit off topic of horror movies.
so now, anyway, so would you call this horror?
I would not. I
Okay.
would say it has horror, like you say, it bleeds into different genres. I would say it bleeds into that genre because of the effects of Hannibal Lecter. But
Right.
it's a
Look at
thriller
those eyes.
or a suspense movie or even
Yeah.
a crime drama.
Yeah, I suppose that. But I'll tell you what. Jeff knows who I'm talking about. Jeff, wasn't his name Jeff? Wasn't that the sales guy's name at the Journal with
Yeah.
us? He comes walking over. He'd seen this. He comes walking over and he goes, "Oh, I saw that new movie, Silence of the Lambs." I'm like, "Oh, I really want to see that." He goes, "Yeah, there's this one part." I go, "What? Tip, chop, choop, choop, choop." I don't want to know anything about it. And what's the famous line? "Oh, this doesn't give anything away." I'm like, whatever, dude. If you're gonna have to say it, just say it. And he goes, "Yeah, there's this part." So like he cuts the guy's face off and he puts it on his, and that's how he gets away. And I'm like,
Well,
okay.
that pretty much is giving it away.
So I'm at the theater. My heart is literally pounding. I'm freaking out. And it just stopped because I'm like, mother. Now I know how he gets away. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, you dick.
Did you
Would
spoil
you
a
call-
movie for him?
Did you call this? What's that?
Did you spoil a movie for him
Yeah.
in Retribution?
Time to go to the movies. Call me 10 minutes before you
Yeah.
go. Asshole.
I just saw this. Tell me when you're going to see it. This one, what'd you think?
I've
Just
not seen
suspensey?
it.
No,
You haven't
that'd
seen
be
it?
like a suspense film.
Well, let me tell you all about it, Pete.
I already listen. I've heard so much about it over the years. I think I know.
Oh
It's
man.
one of those things. That's a movie that is. Everybody's got movies like that they haven't seen, but they know everything about it because it's been so mainstream that you just. Yeah, that's one for me right there.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
what makes Himalayan on the map, and he's been trying to find the map ever since.
What would
Now-
you guys say is your favorite horror movie that's like a newer one? Because a lot of the ones we talked about are pretty old.
Oh, Conjuring. Conjuring, straight off the bat. I'll tell you
Oh.
that much.
I do. I can't tell you the name of it. What the hell is the name of it? We all know it because it was big, and we just watched it recently. See, my kid is 21 now, and he was home for a couple months from he lives in about 6 hours away, but at the beginning of COVID, and he would say, "We got to watch these movies." We never did watch Parasite. Got to watch that sometime. But
That's trippy, man.
yeah. He said, "Oh, you have to watch this movie." He's big into movies. He works in TV. He's an editor. That's what he's on by trade. He finished college editing and stuff, and he's working on a TV show now. But oh my God, Lance, we'll talk about that after.
Good call, man. Good call.
But what the blazes the name is just recently out. Oh God, it's about the little girl who gets killed, and the grandmother is a witch.
Oh,
Heredity.
Yes.
Heredity.
Woo!
We watched that. That is an amazing movie. It's scary. It's tense. It'll scare the living Jesus out of you, and it's top quality.
What about Get Out?
Get Out. Which one is Get Out? Is Get Out about the families who the people of the same people come? Like the twins come?
No, that's Us.
That's Us.
I have that here to show.
He got us to watch Us as well. And it's like, oh, that was good. I don't think I've watched Get Out.
Yeah.
Get Out. That was
movies. I would pick Heredity over Get Out over Us.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like,
but that's a good trilogy. If you want a good contemporary trilogy for this year to watch, Us, Get Out, and Heredity. That would be a triple scare fest right there. And then I'd throw The Conjuring on for dessert.
When I think of horror movies, I'm more drawn towards the bizarre, schlocky, stupid stuff from the 80s, like that Papa Mosley would review. Okay. If any of you guys on there, I don't know if you guys in the chat are familiar with the Rebel Gaming Club. Okay. But
right there.
Right here. I got challenged last month on Facebook by a fellow who's another regular on the Rebel Gaming Club, Mosley Volpe, and he runs Drunken Master Studios, reviews a ton of different old horror movies and stuff all the time, and he challenged me to, as my alter ego, Papa Mosley, to do a review of a video. So I gave him a double feature, which is on the Rebel Gaming Club site. I guess it got released on Monday night in time for Halloween, so check it out. And I review Blood Harvest, and I reviewed Microwave Massacre, and I'm telling you, those are top-notch classic films.
Oh my gosh.
That's where Frosty the fucking snowman comes from.
Frosty the fucking snowman.
Drink up.
Cheers to it. So, I didn't review them. Papa Mosley reviewed them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Get your identity straight, bro. So yeah, those are good. Get Out that's the psychological thriller.
Here we go. Say hello to Papa Mosley.
I feel like I was hanging with Garth Brooks, and now I got Chris Gaines. Here's a guy we all know really well. If I can get this in here right.
There it is.
Tim Matheson, Jennifer Jason Leigh
in
this movie. You ever seen that, Jeff?
Was that the one before? No.
What's that? Buried Alive?
There's one that I'm looking for that I've seen on umpteen lists from like early 90s.
This was a made-for-television USA movie.
Okay, yeah.
And this was a Strange Frequency was on a cable channel. It might have been VH1. And this is Soul Man, which has Roger Daltrey in it, and James Marsters, who played Spike on Buffy and Angel. But Buried Alive is this really cool psychological thriller about. You remember the asshole in Die Hard, the redhead reporter?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it.
He's the same asshole that's in Ghostbusters, isn't he?
Yes! This man. Say it, Jeff. Yes, it's true.
Oh, is that Nicholas?
It's true.
Yeah, that's my favorite line I think of all time. When they
Sorry, I screwed up. Oh,
that's my favorite line in Ghostbusters when they
beautiful.
refer to him as dickless. And is that true? Yes, this man has no dick.
That is a classic line.
So, but the thing about it is it's a story about a guy who is jilted by his wife. So, and it's a revenge film. So I suggest checking that out. Buried Alive. I should look on Amazon and see if there's actually a real copy.
Have either of you seen the new Adam Sandler Halloween movie on Netflix?
Killer Clowns. The new what?
Adam Sandler film on Netflix.
No, but is it tied to Salem's Lot?
I don't know. Was
I
Salem terrible?
heard it was good.
Oh, I thought it was his worst movie ever.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. Well, that's coming off watching Uncut Gems, which I think is his best movie.
That's
Okay.
what my nephew said that.
Like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole movie because I didn't know what was going to happen next. There was something happening like every minute. It was a crazy film.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought the film was well done, but it bothered me because I'm like, can you make any more fucking bad moves?
I know. What about Killer Clowns? You guys seen that?
I watched Killer Clowns years ago. It's just I don't know.
I've never seen it.
It's
I just watched it like 3 months ago. The
Is
first
that-
time.
Then again, I liked Attack of the Killer Tomatoes was good. I just watched that a few months ago too for the first time.
Never
That's a great
seen it.
movie. It's
Never seen
they're like I'm almost drawn to those stupid schlocky movies.
Well, then here's one for you, buddy. I wonder if you've seen this one. My good buddy Ron Keel is in it. Have you seen Bad Channels?
Bad
No.
Channel.
Oh, dude, you got to watch Bad Channels.
Bad
Blue Oyster
Channel.
Cult. Blue Oyster Cult did the soundtrack. The
Well, right
soundtrack
there,
is amazing. But yeah, it has Ron Keel with the group that he was in with all women, except for him, of course.
The movie that I was trying to tell you guys about a few minutes ago that is supposed to be one of the most disgusting movies ever made, which is great friggin' title to have. It's ranked as a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, is Dead Alive,
Oh, Dead Alive.
otherwise known as Brain Dead.
Is that the one where they're
Oh yeah, I can't get it anywhere like free here. That's one of the most intriguing movies that I've ever come across that I really want to see. I haven't seen it yet, but they say it is the absolute worst. I've seen enough clips from it now that I feel like I've seen it. But
At first, Pete, I thought you were going to say Human Centipede.
Oh.
I don't even know if I call that a horror movie. Like you're saying,
Sorry to bring the whole show down.
no, I don't know.
We need that sound effect from Star Wars when they go for doing that, when they're getting ready to shoot the ray that blows up the planet, where the guy goes with that underbite helmet. He goes,
Human Centipede. I've not watched it. It's almost like it's one of those things that I wish I want to watch it sometime just to say that I have, because how do you if you're not, I'll say the same thing to anybody. If you're not willing to watch something, then do you have the right to say it's not like any good? If you
all right, let's put it this way. And Anthium, I need to check that out. Ravenous, 99 horror Western.
A horror Western. What an interesting combination there.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that one of my favorite bands that does horror metal genre, and they're a really good band. I can't listen to everything just because I don't dig all the messages, and I don't need that running around in my head. Although I listen to Steel Panther, so but they had an album called Ravenous. It's a band called Wolf. So check out their video. Speaking of horror, maybe Jeff, you can maybe pull it up. It's a song called Moonlight. So check out their video. It's horror based, and the band is playing in a cave, and there's suspense or lurking.
What's the movie called?
The song is called Moonlight, and the band is called Wolf. They had an album called Ravenous later, but that song and that video is from their first album, Moonlight by the band Wolf. Anyway,
Rich, go ahead.
no, I was just trying to think where I was. I'm horrible at that.
Rich just chimed in and said, Dead Alive is hilarious. All early Peter Jackson is crazy. And I think that I had heard as Peter Jackson, but I forgot all about that. Yeah, I don't know. I've got to see that movie sometime soon. They say it's like the most unbelievable things to see.
I think I know what I was going to talk about. I know what I was going to say. We were talking about movies. Can we say that they suck if we've never seen them, right? If you're not willing to watch it, can you really throw down on it, right? Okay, when I was a kid,
go ahead.
Right. When I was a kid, certain, movies would come out and I was too young to see them, except when I was 15 and I did get into Phantasm and saw that and stuff. But Wes Craven's first film, do you know what it was?
It's not Last House on the Left, is it?
Yep.
Okay, yep.
So I never saw that movie. And I was always thinking it was just a horror movie. I thought, oh, it's The Last House on the Left. It's a house. It's the last one. It's on the left. And I need to see that movie. So I decades go by, right? And I go to the library and it's there. I'm like, oh, it's the movie. I can watch it now. And this will be great. And I fucking hated it because it's an exploitation film about a bunch of people with bad ideas doing bad things to two girls who were just going to go and see a concert.
Yeah.
And there's multiple rape scenes. I'm like, okay, this isn't entertainment.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I had that same problem with a brand new movie that just came out on Netflix or Amazon called The Devil All the Time.
Okay.
With Tom played Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Yep.
So, I couldn't finish watching that. I was done.
Really?
Yeah, I got to a certain part and I'm like, you know what? I told my wife, I said, I'm done.
I've watched a lot. I've never sat down to watch Last House on the Left. I've watched a lot about it. And just recently I watched a summary of it, and I can't remember even what it was on. It might have been on one of the AVGN Monster Massacre things. And it talked about what it was all about. And I cannot sit down. I would not. This is my point, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I know enough about that movie that I'm not really, okay, I don't really want to watch that. And I might be able to recommend to you, I know enough about that movie that you may not want to watch it because of. But can I tell you it's a horrible movie? Maybe you'd like it. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I saw that movie. I thought it sucked. I can tell people what I think they may think about it from what I know. But unless I've actually seen the movie.
Oh, right.
It's like, it's just there's a difference there. Like I could, that Last House on the Left, that you picked out a pretty good example there because I always was under the impression that it was this sort of early horror movie that was kind of, groundbreaking. And no, it's a pretty bizarre sicko thing. How he came to the career after that he did. I mean, it probably nobody even know about it now if it wasn't made by Wes Craven who followed it up, right?
Yeah, and there's one of his creations right at the top of the screen, right there in the middle. Hellraiser up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was very upset. I'm like, and I don't know. There's a part of me that I don't want to put anybody down. That's not my point. But my point is, where is this entertainment? This isn't entertainment. This is sick and exploitative. And I'm like, why do you want to watch this happen? And that was my problem with The Devil All the Time. Okay. I stopped watching at a moment. I won't reveal anything, but I stopped watching at a moment that I could have passed up. And I thought they were gonna. And then they went back. And I'm like, I don't need to see how this sick crap happens. Yeah. I don't need to watch it happen. I already know that it happened.
I know he looks like a kid. He's about 25, but that surprised me. Yeah.
Well, definitely don't watch Human Centipede then.
No, I started watching that and I'm like, done. Bye. See ya.
It's like, I look at those things like, okay, I'm going into it. Do I really want to watch it? I'll get through it, and I'll probably never want to watch it again. I don't know. It's like there's some curiosity killed the cat type deal that makes me want to watch some of these movies, which is most of the schlock things I see on there. I mean, Gore Carnival. Okay, why do I want to watch that? I don't know. It could be kind of interesting. Okay, horror movie. Here's a horror movie. Let's get right a little bit off topic, a little bit more historical. Actually, I'd love to talk about Young Frankenstein, but
I know, right?
but horror movie, very controversial movie. Have you ever seen Freaks?
No.
No, but I know of it.
I have. I had it. I got it. I got it from. Remember when Netflix used to be a DVD service that you could ship your DVDs every month? They had the same thing up here. It was called Zip.ca, and I read it at that time and burned a copy. It's really hard to find. You don't see it on any of the channels. It's almost banned still a lot of places. Very bizarre. It's not that it's out of. It's not that the visuals are disturbing. It's the fact that they use real people from real setup. You know, back in the guy ruined. Todd Browning was his name. Ruined his career. He had a big career. He made that movie, and nobody would hire him again.
Wow. What year are we talking?
1932.
Oh, okay, because here, I'm looking at Freaks 1932. I didn't know if they were going that far back.
Yeah, 1932. Wow. T-O-D, Todd with one D, Browning, and I'm telling you right now, that is the movie that's worth watching. Like you're not gonna see anything like you saw in Last House on the Left. You're not gonna see anything like you're gonna see in Human Centipede, but in that movie, it is exploitation at the time of these carnival people who were valid, real people who were working in a carnival as a sideshow. It's the reality of that era. And it's not a bad story. It's bizarre. You just gotta see it, but it is worth watching.
But look on there too. It says suggested by the story Spurs by Todd Robbins.
I've never heard that phrasing before.
I haven't either. So is there a book, or was that a story of some sort, a news story, or a something in some sort of publication that?
This seems like a really odd topic for 1932.
It was It's bizarre. Like I said, I can't remember what it was. He had a couple successful movies, and he made this one, and this was his baby. He really wanted to make this movie, and he did. Excuse me. And it really destroyed his career. Supposedly, there's sections of this movie that still can't be seen to this day. Like they had to change endings and change different parts. But everybody has seen in pop culture, in different shows, the scene of people sitting around a table and a new person in the group, and everybody sitting around going, "One of us, one of us, one of us, one of us."
Wow.
It's all kinds of different shows have had that sort of and it started right here.
So look at the little title above his name. Can a full-grown woman truly love a midget?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Well, and how interesting is it that you spelled out his first name, T-O-D, and that down below, T-O-D Robbins? I mean, it's kind of interesting that two Todds with one D.
Wow, that is weird.
I can't see that from here. Where?
Oh, really?
Right here.
Underneath Roscoe Eights.
Yeah, it says Todd Robbins, but Todd is T-O-D.
Well, maybe if I went full screen, now I can see it, but I can't see the chat this way.
Oh, that's usually my problem too, Pete. I'm always like, it's too dinky. And then I'm full screen though tonight. I'm going.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. That's a very historic movie. It's not one that's going to make you cringe or like it's not gory. It's a real subject.
Yeah, like you said, it may make you cringe because of just its reality.
Yeah. But it is reality. These are real people. These people that at that day and age in the 1930s, that was what they did for a living.
Well, now I'm fascinated by this movie. I want to see it, but I want to see it uncut. Does it exist anywhere?
I believe it does. Like when I say there's sections that can't be seen, I think that there was cut back at the day even, or
Right.
in the 50s or 60s. It's like I've never seen. You know, if you find it, you're going to find what you can find.
So you think stuff was cut before it was released?
I do. Yeah. There's documentaries on it. There's people talking about it. There's lots of information out there on this movie because it's quite notorious, I guess is a good way to put it.
I'm gonna say, there's probably footage on YouTube and whatnot.
Absolutely, yeah. There'll be footage at the end. Don't watch too much footage at the end because the very end of it is kind of one of the things that's shown on YouTube more than anything, and I've gone and found it, looked, because it's like, okay, what was that again? Is the finale, the ending, and you don't really want to spoil that for yourself, probably.
I got you. Right.
And it's not very long; it's only a little bit over an hour, right?
Yeah.
But very, very interesting. Yeah, I call that a horror movie.
Still a classic for me. Still a classic. But the interesting stuff about this, I love all the back stuff to this, like how it was summertime where they shot it, and they had to bring in all the leaves. And Jeff and I were just talking about it, and he goes, "I love that part of it because I love fall." Yeah. And I
remember about the movie so well how it was leaves everywhere. They were blowing. It was very much, it looked like a fall day.
Yeah.
It was great. I just love the atmosphere. As I was telling Stuart too, I love whenever like a TV show or a movie, when there's a storm or it's raining really hard and it's all dark outside. I just love that.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's always, because there was an episode of Cheers where it was storming out. And when do you ever see a storm in a TV show? It's like
right. And
very rare. I don't know why. It's just, I guess they just don't want to deal with it.
If you want to watch a movie with storms in them,
I do.
Watch The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse.
Have you heard of The Lighthouse? Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson from Twilight. Pattinson.
Thank you, Pattinson. Right,
Pattinson.
Yeah.
He's from Twilight anyway, and Willem Dafoe filmed in Nova Scotia, right here in Nova Scotia.
Oh wow!
Won some awards. It's available on Amazon, I believe.
Now wait, they won awards and you weren't in it.
And who weren't in it?
You weren't in it.
Me.
Yeah. They didn't call you? And
they did not call me, the bastards. Anyway.
We need an award. Get Pete out here.
Next time. There you go. $10 to $19.99 on eBay for freaks. The Lighthouse. It's a bit of a hard watch, but you'll get your fill of storms. I'd almost call it a horror movie.
I was just gonna say, what genre is that?
It's suspense and horror. It's about two guys get over to take over a lighthouse, and the madness ensues.
Oh wow!
And it's the atmosphere, it's the filmmaking of that particular movie that's amazing. Yeah.
I was
one that my son brought to me and said, "You got to watch this." I was not as big on it as he was, but it's one of these things that I'm very, very glad that I watched at least the once. Yeah. It's worth watching.
Yeah,
that's funny. There's movies like that. You're glad you watched it once, but you're never watching it again.
I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you right up front. I'm probably never going to sit down and watch The Lighthouse again. But I'm glad I watched the one time. And if you like storm movies, maybe you'll love it. But if you appreciate suspense, strange, different types of movies, then you're going to like that. That is going to be a good one to add into the repertoire, let's say. Okay.
What did you ever see The Ice Storm?
No.
That has a lot of players that you know. And if you dig storm movies, there, Jeff, you might want to check that out. I think I have it still. I was going to get rid of it, I think. The one thing real quick I'll mention about Halloween. Did you notice, Pete? I think I was mentioning this to Jeff the other day. Did you notice in that film how, we all know what a beautiful woman Jamie Lee Curtis is?
Right.
And did you notice that once the other two hot sleeping around girls were dead, then her hair was different. Her blouse was open to about here. As soon as the other girls are dead, they beautify Jamie Lee Curtis more.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, double check that. When she comes down the stairs, her blouse is more open. Her hair's done differently.
But if I'm looking for that, I'm going to watch her in Trading Places.
Yeah. You're a sassy man.
There
Sassy
you go.
man. Now there's one that's funny.
Oh, I'm sorry, getting a little slow in the draw there.
That's Atlantic Canadian for drink.
I'm out.
Wait, what was that phrase, Pete?
Sociable.
This I thought was the original one was the best. Now this has the 4 films. This is all 4. Now I think there's another one.
There's 4?
Yeah, there's
Oh my God.
maybe more.
Wow.
Oh my God, once the first one's a success, they're never going to end.
I know, right? And Michael, the dad from Family Ties, is in every one.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Yeah, he's the main factor. Now here's one that I just.
Or does he have his beard and mustache?
He's got the beard and mustache.
Huh.
Yeah. Now this one, you ever seen this one?
I have.
Nope.
I can remember that when that came out like 1980, didn't it?
It was right around then. I think it might have been a little later, but I could be incorrect.
I'm thinking 1980 because for some stupid reason I remember it being on HBO when it first came out in this area. They used to have little books, and the books were
I think it says 81.
81.
Pete, we were just
Yeah,
talking about that the
Scared
other
to
day.
live with Jesus out of you. Anyway, that's
We were just talking about how when you first got cable, they'd give you that monthly book, and you look through it. It was like a little magazine. You look through all the different movies, and it was really
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, 1981.
And cable came. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I'll just say one real quick thing, and then the thing about this movie is I didn't see the movie first. I read the book.
Oh wow.
And the book was written from the movie, and it was done by a guy named Owen West, and Owen West turned out to be Dean Koontz.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's how I knew about it. Go ahead.
Right on. Believe it or not, when I was a kid, I used to like to collect things.
Wait, you were a kid? Believe it or not.
You used to like to collect things.
And I still remember in September 1980 was the first month. My brother-in-law, who lived in Maine, the one that I talk about all the time, it was his in television stuff. He got me television. He was working for the cable company, and they brought HBO to the local town. And at that time, you're talking about the books that you flip through every month, right? At that time, you see a little thing. It was a fold-over booklet, all color, nice pictures with the schedules. HBO was actually only on from supper time until about 1 a.m. in the weekdays, and then from about noon until about 3 in the morning on the weekends. And it was a complete book with the schedule and little write-ups on all the movies on HBO. This is what I remember the Funhouse from, because it was one of these books. And I collected, for the time that opened, for 2.5 years, I had every single HBO book. He always made sure when he come home on Friday, right at the start of the month, he'd bring the ones home for him and his family, and he'd always bring an extra nice crisp one for me. And unfortunately, I have never, ever found out where they ended up after I went away to university and stuff. But anyway, that was just talking about the books and stuff like that, the HBO books. I wish I still had those to this day, because it'd be kind of neat, really.
I might have some at my dad's place. I'll have to check when I go up there.
The very first one that I had was September 1980, and it had 10 on the cover. And the next one was October, and it had Superman the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because I just remember those two just sort of happened. It all happened at once in September, and the October one was out. So the first two I ever had was that, and I probably had 30 of them before I stopped collecting them. Of course, they don't have anything like that anymore nowadays, right? But anyway,
that could be a whole other YouTube channel for you, Pete.
What's that?
That could be a whole nother YouTube channel for you.
Yeah.
Let us know when you're ready to do that. We'll jump on.
Have you guys ever seen? I sat down and finally watched it after seeing it on Tubi and hearing about it for years. The movie called Reanimator.
Oh, I know of it, but I've never seen it.
It's pretty bizarre, let me tell you that. It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. It's another one of the really successful, so they made 5 more. Sorry, Jeff?
Is it bringing dead people back to life? Is that what the title's about?
Exactly. Yeah. And in very bizarre fashion. It's really bizarre. Oh, what do you got?
Oh, Alien.
I mean, sci-fi horror at its greatest.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My wife enjoys this one more. She loves the second one. The first one was great for what it was, but then once you knew what you were dealing with, this was a fantastic follow-up with Bill Paxton. And
yep.
I mean, amazing sci-fi horror.
I think Aliens is better than Alien, and Alien is incredibly good.
Right.
I'll leave it at that.
Right. That is some of the greatest sci-fi horror until Rise of Skywalker. That was just sci-fi horrible. I never saw it. I boycotted.
I loved it.
Fuck it.
I loved it.
No, you didn't.
I loved it.
Okay, we're gonna. Nope. Before I have to reevaluate our friendship, I want to stop this conversation.
Phantom Menace, fabulous movie. Loved it.
Phantom. I'm gonna say I love you. I respect you.
It's all I had to watch. I was gonna accept it no matter what, I guess.
And we're gonna move on. Yeah. Before you have another orifice. This is amazing. Seen it?
Pitch Black?
Yes.
Yes, I did watch that several years ago now. Only watched it the once. Man, suspense.
Chronicles of Riddick came after this.
Yeah.
It's Vin Diesel. It's the original. It's the first movie of that. And doggone it, is this one killer. It's an amazing, amazing sci-fi horror film.
Slid by a lot of people right there. That was not a big movie at the time.
No. And then they put out Chronicles of Riddick like, okay, here we go. This is big stuff. And you're like, no, just go back to Pitch Black because that was an amazing film.
Yeah.
This one was really scary. Look at this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pre-owned.
From Blockbuster.
I come home one night from a hockey game one time. My wife had watched that movie.
Oh, was she freaking out?
She was, oh my God, I'm glad you're home. Yeah.
How many of these have you guys seen?
What I get it is. Oh,
they make 6?
Yeah, I've seen none of them.
You've seen none?
None. Nope. I have not watched them.
You just haven't watched them, but it's worth it.
Is it?
Yes. This one, especially the first one.
Yep.
One of these days, I'm going to watch all of them. I have seen the second and the third, but I never saw the fourth and I think they made 5, maybe 6. Because it was like when they made the last one, you're like, well, that's it. They're done. And then, nope, they did another one. You're like, the guy's dead, right? Yeah, right. And it has the woman from Becker in it who played his goofy assistant. Yeah, what was her name? God, they say her name enough because she does the silliest crap. I find the scariest movies are the suspense ones, not the slasher ones. I don't gross out movies. Yeah, one of my teachers at my school was just talking about that today because I mentioned it to her, and she said she likes psychological suspense, thriller, horror, but not.
I'm the same way. Like, I mean, it's nothing. There's nothing horror about it, but like the Alfred Hitchcock movies, the suspense films.
Yeah,
and like we were talking before, Blair Witch. I mean, there was nothing bad in that, but I was like kind of freaked out when we left the movie theater because it's like,
dude, that creepy final scene with the dude in the corner, and then pip, and then that's it.
Oh,
to me, it all like what Pete says here. I don't like gross out movies. It all depends to me on what they're actually trying to do. Like if the point is just to gross you out, to show you something you don't want to see. For example, Last House on the Left. Okay, I don't know. I don't particularly Human Centipede. No, I'm not especially drawn to that. But these cheap. That's why I like the cheap schlocker movies. I like those because they're trying to be funny, like ridiculous and gross all at the same time. That I like. The Reanimator. I'm sorry, it's one part, half the movie. Well, 15 minutes of the movie, the body is carrying its head around the side, doing this and that, right? Like, it's not trying to gross you out. It's just trying to be like, oh my God, it's like, and that's about it. I like that. Stuff like Aliens is totally suspense. That's amazing. What an amazing movie. The other one is like, some people either take it or leave it, but I like the real cheesy B movie, schlocky horror movies. I don't like the stuff like your Human Centipedes and your Last House on the Left, what are just tried. I Spit on Your Grave. I don't know if you've seen that one from 79.
I have never seen it, but I've wanted to.
It's another one of these ones that, will I go back and watch it again? You know what? I probably would have watched it again if I could find it on here. They have the new version on here. Okay, on Tubi or whatever it is, like they remade it in 2014 or 16 or whatever. I have no desire to watch the remake of it. I'd only watch the original for the actual aspect of the original.
Right, right. That's why I would want to see.
That's different. But so I see what he's saying about if it's just strictly for gore, no. But if it's like a little bit of comedy in it, a little bit off the wall, totally unrealistic, okay, that's kind of funny.
Well, then, have you watched? I showed it earlier. Have you watched House?
Last House on the Left?
No, House, with William Catt and George Wendt, and
I have not. Yeah, I was going to get a beer when you said that. Actually,
you have got to see that film. You will love it. It's well done.
Which
don't watch the Don't watch this. Well. You know what? You just told me you like Phantom Menace and Rise of Skywalker, so watch the second one. If you hate it, then that's my revenge.
Can I tell you why I like Phantom Menace?
Yes.
You can tell me why, but I'll disagree.
I'm not going to say it's a good movie. I'm not going to say it's a good story. I'm not going to say anything about it is particularly good, except for I did really like Ewan McGregor.
He's awesome no matter what.
But I grew up and I saw Star Wars. I think you probably did too. I can remember right to this day standing in line outside the theater in town when my brother took my brother and his girlfriend at the time. Yeah, well, whatever. Took her two sisters and me to see Star Wars, and I was about 9 years old. I can remember going to see the theater, which is long gone. I can remember going to see Empire Strikes Back. They took us to see that too. I can remember the day I went to see Return of the Jedi. My brother-in-law took me to Bangor. We saw it in 1983. I can remember the first time I got to see Star Wars for the second time, which kids today can't even relate to, because it was 5 years after I saw it the first time. VCRs were just starting to exist. My brother-in-law had just bought one, and he managed to find somebody who had a copy, which is amazing, of Star Wars. And he surprised me. He showed up one night, and he said, "You coming over tonight? I'm not telling you why." I went over there, and all of a sudden he puts that in the VCR, clunk down on the VCR, the old ones.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Star Wars. Oh my God, it's Star Wars. Because in the meantime, between seeing it the first time and seeing it the second time, I had bought the novel at Mr. Paperback, which is long gone, that store. And I had read the goddamn novel 12 times.
Paperback or hardback?
Paperback.
I have a hardback of it.
Wow. And I never saw that, but and then I bought Splinter of the Mind's Eye, read that story, just couldn't get enough of it, but you couldn't see movies at the time. I remember the want for seeing these movies. Right. So it was 1999. I was 30 years old. I was 30 years old when it came out. And I thought, it doesn't matter. I went and I got my brother-in-law. We went to a lot of movies together when I was younger. He took me all. We saw Escape from New York, Excalibur. Oh, I could go on forever. Raiders of the Lost Ark. We went to Bangor, Return of the Jedi, Superman 3, all those movies. I said, we're going to see this movie the night it opens. We went to see it the night it opened, and it didn't matter what the hell they had shown on that screen. If they were telling the Star Wars story, I was going to love it, because I had so much history and love of that entire franchise. And was it exactly what I wanted to see? Well, maybe not, but you know what? It was Star Wars, and I still liked it, and I still love it to this day because I love the franchise. So no matter what people are going to say, a 20-year-old kid who didn't stand outside the theater to see that original Star Wars, they say that's a terrible movie. Fine, I like it. So you're never going to tell me not to like it, because I like it for what it is and what it's meant to be for 30 years. And right back to the same thing. What's it all mean to me? It's all nostalgia. So.
Yeah, some people don't have a problem leaving things on the table. They don't care. I mean, they don't. and I don't mean that you don't care. You obviously care about your love of the franchise.
Yeah.
Your love of the franchise to you says, do whatever the hell you want. If the Star Wars name is on it, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to have fun. And there's millions of people like you. My wife's like that.
Yeah.
Me, I don't like it when you bend one of my all-time favorite childhood franchises over and screw it with no regard and just start negating everything that I grew up watching. I'm like, okay, so you don't care about this. This can already all of a sudden it can do this. This happens. This person can just all of a sudden do this. And these facts that you've had in the past that were the coolest aspects of this freaking film now are like
what specific?
There's a lot of things.
Okay, let's talk into that. But I'm just going to say one other thing.
But light speed, when they destroy all those ships.
Oh, in the new movie?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, the new movie's a different story. Okay, I went to the theater.
Oh, it's a different story. All right.
I bought it. I'm not going to really try to justify that. I picked up the Blu-ray when it came out, and I haven't actually watched it again since the first time I went to the theater. So that tells you something right there, doesn't it? But let me say this. For whatever reason, back in 1981, before friggin' Return of the Jedi ever come out, I knew, or what I had always been read or heard or been told, is that Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi were 4, 5, and 6 of a 9-part series. And Lucas was going to make the other ones. And then about 6 or 7 years later, no, they probably will never get made. And then all of a sudden, the late 90s, bang, we're going to make the first 3 after all, but that will probably be it. So I was happy to see those, just happy that they even existed because I had always expected them. And then later on, well, that'll be about it because they went over so poorly with the people who weren't as familiar, weren't Star Wars lovers from the original, from the beginning, which is fine and understandable. And then Disney bought them and said, okay, we're going to make these movies. I was just goddamn happy to see that they even got made. The fact that, what is it called? The Force Awakens was nothing more than the first one rehashed. Great. I like the story the first time. It's still a good story. And the second one, Return of the Last Jedi. Okay.
So horrible.
Well, whatever. I didn't really care for the whole part with a puttering through space thing. And I didn't really care for the casino thing either. But anyway, it told
there was a ton of that movie that made no sense whatsoever.
And no place. It's done. And you know what? It's closed. Yeah. I'm happy just that it's closed. And I'll take the solos. I'll take the other ones. I'll take those. The best one of the bunch is Rogue One.
Rogue One is great.
Yeah,
I loved it, and I was fine with Force Awakens, even though there was things about it I didn't like. But I just didn't like Kylo Ren. Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Anyway, that's really
another show. That is another show.
It wasn't so bad that it made me like Star Wars any less than I did when going into it. So.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Anyway,
and
sorry.
We all do watch things for different reasons, and the things that I have an issue with are movie making issues. Some of those things are movie making issues. Now, we should probably wrap this up. So, what I was going to say is these were pretty good. Did you ever watch these?
I have seen clips from a lot of them.
I watched the first couple of them. I haven't seen all of them. This was good. I haven't seen the new one. Speaking of horror films with
that's horror comedy right there. Yeah.
Looking forward to the new one. This was very good. Subsequent other movies in this line, not as good. But I did enjoy the Rise of the Lycans. That was pretty good. Blade, I didn't even get that out, but that opening scene in Blade scared the crap out of me. That was freaky.
I've seen all those, and I'm going to revisit them sometime soon.
Yeah.
Movies, yep.
This was good and scary. Loved this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
Really, really good. And this was really good, too.
That is very good. Now, how was the second one? Did you see 28 Weeks Later or whatever?
I didn't. And is this Cillian Murphy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy's in this. That's who plays the main character. But I loved how they started it. He was in the hospital,
Yes.
and then just like he just gets up and starts walking around.
Yeah.
And you're like, how weird would that be? And still, when it began, one of the great television horror shows, when it started out, this was awesome. Really good show.
It's
Had
the
great
Wren.
music.
Wren.
Great music too. The Wren. He was visiting with you guys the other night.
So, I guess we wrap it up. Do you guys have like an all-time favorite horror movie you think everyone should see?
I mean, of all of those that I showed,
There's so many.
I really believe as that some of these new ones that are coming out. Now, there was a movie that I saw, and it's one of those like Pete, where we're talking about, is it horror? Is it not horror?
Yes.
How do you view it? Is The Audition. If you've never seen that.
I've heard a lot about that one and have
And
not
what
seen
about,
it.
yeah, it's one, when you said it earlier, I said about The Audition, I'm like, I think I told Christine that too. I'm like, you know what? Don't ever have to see that again.
It's one.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, don't ever watch that again.
I heard it's pretty impacting, isn't it?
Yeah, impacting is the good word for it. Disturbing is another good word for it.
Yeah, that's the what I get out of that. The part that I saw with some spoilers was that might be a movie that I might not.
I mean, you could make it through it because there's it's not the Centipede. It's not
Right.
Some of these other things. It's disturbing and at its core.
Yeah.
But what was it? What was another one I was going to mention? But the Korean films are really dark.
Yeah.
Japanese horror films are awesome. Well,
That's what this audition. The Audition is.
We've watched a lot of different, Japanese or Asian movies, and not necessarily horror movies. But one thing we found out, one thing that's weird about some of the movies is like they don't have a problem killing off children. We were watching I forgot his name. We were watching a film, and there was a school bus, it was filled with kids, and there was a bomb on it. And I'm thinking, well, obviously the guy's going to save them, and then they just blow up the kids. I was like, what the hell? I was like, that doesn't happen here.
No.
But I'll tell you what, I was surprised. Caught me off guard.
Right.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just getting back to the favorite. I mean, it was the first horror movie I ever saw, Halloween, and I don't know. Maybe it's because the first one I saw, but I just really like that one still.
I think
with
its cool homage to Psycho, where you don't see anything. You don't see things happening.
Yeah.
Right. You see the aftermath at most, but
Right.
That's the artistic filmmaking, the skill of Hitchcock. Yeah.
oh, his films are so good.
It's like I can't finish tonight though without at least addressing a little bit. Lance is still bringing up Young Frankenstein, which I absolutely love. When you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Oh my God, that is a fabulous friggin' movie.
That's
I
one
love
of his.
Mel Brooks. I love Mel Brooks. Talk about how can a person be so okay? His humor, would it fly today? There's another whole friggin' show. Would Mel Brooks' humor fly today?
But see, here's where we're going to get into another. We need to do a show again, Pete, because you and I are like this on a lot of things. And
Well,
I'll guarantee you're going to say it about this because you love it. I hate Spaceballs.
Oh, Spaceballs is like
A piece of crap.
absolute most amazing movie I've ever seen.
Thanks for throwing the ball up in the air for me to hit. It is the most crappy movie.
Strike
It's
one still.
so it's junk. It's we'll talk about it later. We won't bother people with it now.
Oh,
We
there
won't
you
air that.
go. We talked a little bit of that a couple weeks ago, didn't we? Yeah.
We'll
Briefly.
let's get back together. We'll talk about this stuff.
Right
And
on.
we'll go head to head.
We should do that sometime though. We'll just talk about Mel Brooks movies. Take a little while to watch them because you may hate Spaceballs. It doesn't mean you hate all Mel Brooks movies.
No, there's 2 movies of his that I like.
How many have you watched?
2.
Look. No, I'm sorry. 3 movies. 3.
You've watched 3, and 2 of you like
No. I've watched more than that, but there's 3 that I like. Blazing Saddles is not one of them.
Blazing Saddles will be 6 minutes long
It's
nowadays.
long nowadays. Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, true. That's hilarious, Lance.
That's a perfect line right there.
And it's another one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely love it.
I
Absolutely love it. How even
Yeah.
History of the World, right?
That's one of my
Well,
favorites. That's one of them that I like.
Well, what's the other one you like?
The Producers.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You hate everything else?
Well, okay.
High anxiety?
Okay. Hold on. Hate might be a
Okay.
heavy word. I'm not into them.
Well,
I don't watch them and go, that was fun. Like Spaceballs, I'm like, yay, that was a waste of my time. Because I'm like, I could have come up with this stuff in junior high. And if you wouldn't have had Star Wars, you never would have had this film. So it's like, first of all, the jokes aren't funny. Secondly, if you didn't have Star Wars, you wouldn't have a Fargan movie. So it's like, you're wasting my time, Mel. Really? This is the best you can do? Because I loved Frankenstein. So when Young Frankenstein was out and I fell in love with that, and then he did that, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? The only good part in that movie was Bon Jovi. Here you go, Pete. I'm making amends. Bon Jovi playing over the Winnebago coming through as a spaceship. That's the only funny part because that's so Monty Python.
can I say to you this still then? There's lots of other ones too, but Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, History of the World Part 1, Spaceballs is a massive downturn compared to all 3 of those.
Yes.
I will say that to you. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I can't watch a movie that's as dumb as that one and is, just plays
Because-
on other things. The jokes are
Right.
not great. The jokes
Right.
are very cliche.
And
The scenario is just like I say, you have to have Star Wars. But
Right.
I can sit down and watch it and just flip it on and it's entertaining.
Right. And that's the beauty of it. And that's why everybody, there's so many people with so many likes. And that's the reason that certain things are popular. Spaceballs was popular because there's a lot of folks that love that. I just don't.
I wouldn't put it in the same league with the other 3 I named, though.
No. But the one last thing I do want to say on this show about horror films.
Yeah.
And my friend Toby over in England just was talking about it. And I'm going to watch it again. But I just told Jeff about this. I don't know that I get it yet.
So what is it?
Near Dark with Bill Paxton and other folks. Jenny Wright's in it. It's got very high marks. Jeff, can you check this out on IMDb real quick? I don't know. Near Dark. But yeah, Bill Paxton here. And it's just, it gets really high marks. And my buddy Toby just mentioned it the other day as what a brilliant film. I heard that and I bought it. And I'm like, okay. I watched it and I'm like, I just don't. Outrageous and poetic. Violent and scary. A classic. But I just didn't get it.
Every time I go to search for it, it pops up this Portuguese movie, Near Dark.
Really? Weird.
And oddly enough, Bill Paxton is not in it.
At 2 hours and 8 minutes into it, I hate to say this, but I just realized what my favorite horror movie of all time was.
Perfect.
I'm not joking. I really sincerely think one of my favorite all-time horror movies, again, a little bit of comedy in it, is An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, dude, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I love that movie. I do not have that movie on Blu-ray,
I don't either.
DVD, anything. I don't believe it's available on streaming.
I might have it on Laserdisc.
There's just something about that movie that I've always really, really liked.
Dude.
The transformation scene, the comedy of all. I don't know.
That's what led to the Thriller video.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
Because he
That
loved
would
what
probably
John
be, if
Landis-
I'm going to say a horror movie, that's my favorite of all time. I love that movie.
Wow. I don't know if I'd say that, but doggone, good call. Because
Yep.
I mean, there's so many we didn't even mention. That's just
John
stuff I
Landis.
own.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but we'll have to have another one next year and talk about more.
If we had stopped 1 minute earlier, we wouldn't have found out.
I know, right?
It's our favorite horror movie.
See?
Well, it's again, like Stu's just saying, there are so many you can't think of them all. And then I realized, like, it's not something I look at every day. It's not around me,
No.
and it's
No.
hard. But I really, sincerely love that movie. I had it on VHS way back when. It's probably packed away in the basement somewhere. I do have it on VHS.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
man, yeah, that's a great movie. I love it.
That is a great, great movie.
If anybody
Fantastic.
watching hasn't watched yet, biggest take out of today, watch the trilogy, the modern trilogy, right? Which is Us, Heredity, and
Get Out.
Get Out. And
Yeah.
I have not watched Get Out. I'm going to watch that. soon.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, what a mind trip. Wait till you get done with the film and then we'll talk, because there's a thought that you just go, what? And you're like,
And I've seen enough about it that I know the gist. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and you're like, how do you go on from here?
Are those
Yeah.
movies connected in any way?
No,
I don't believe so. No.
I think the guys who made Us made Get Out.
Okay.
I've seen it now.
That's the story that blew me away. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's sort of funny because I come into this show, like I come into a lot of shows, like from a different angle. And my angle with horror movies is the cheesy, schlocky, stupid movies like the Microwave Massacre and the Blood Harvest that I did.
I can't wait for you to see Bad Channels.
Bad Channels. There you go. So I got that Bad Channels, and what the hell does that say? Hovey. House.
Hubie.
House.
House. Yeah, House. Yeah.
Anyway, that is my angle because I like the stuff that's not as realistic. I said before, I'm a chicken shit. Okay. I really am. When I was a kid, and I want to watch a horror movie. I'm not going to turn on a horror movie now. I'm going to turn on a horror movie like in the middle of the afternoon when I'm doing putter away and doing stuff. Have it on the background so we see it going on, right? But yeah, that's me. That's okay. That's okay. That's me. But
That's
I
okay.
gotta see those freaking schlocky movies.
After I watch something scary before I go to bed, I always watch something funny or happy. It kind of changes my whole mind.
Absolutely.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
That way, when I see my door handle rattling, I don't immediately think I'm going to be murdered.
You're like, maybe that's Seinfeld. Hello.
Maybe it's just the wind.
It's a silly wind. Maybe it's a happy little cloud.
Right on, guys.
I think we had a great show, guys.
Absolutely. Can't wait
Thank
to
you,
get
Pete.
sometime soon. We'll find some other subject to talk about.
Yep.
Oh, and Pete, thank you for having such a different view of movies than me on that stuff.
Hey,
I love it. I cherish that. I don't down anybody for what they think. I am gonna get, we will get in each other's face about it a little bit because that's fun. But
nothing wrong with that. Like, this is what I like so much about it as well, right? It's like, oh, Return of the Living Dead. I have watched that a few times too. Is we can do this. Just because I like it doesn't mean you have to like it. Just because you like it doesn't mean I have to like it. And we can try to convince each other, but you don't friggin' why shit on things. We see that stuff all the time with the Amico, right?
That's right. That's right. Soup Nazi. Thanks, Lance.
Lance was on fire tonight.
He was on
was.
fire.
Lance, Young Frankenstein. I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna flip on and I'm gonna watch Young Frankenstein tonight just because of you.
That's it's totally worthwhile I would think it's worthwhile to get that one on Blu-ray. I'd like to get. Do you have that on Blu-ray?
It's just got a crisper black and white in Blu-ray.
Some of them are just really worthwhile.
That's right.
I do have to watch it though, because you're like, oh, I could get that on Blu-ray. You're like, it's a comedy. How clearly do you really need to see it?
Yeah, that's right. To be quite honest, I don't know what I have it on, but I do have it somewhere. I don't know where.
Me too.
That's the problem. Is now I got to try to find it.
I know where mine is.
That's the worst. Like when I go look for an old game and I finally find it, I'm like, awesome. I open it up and it's got the wrong cartridge in it. I'm like, son of a gun.
Yeah. What do you do?
This one?
Like I said, okay. Like, believe it or not, when I was a kid, I used to collect a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like,
what happened to that?
Like, oh God.
Is that the pigsty?
That's the pigsty. I've got some of it cleaned up, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So mind you.
Got a lot of it cleaned up.
Hey, Pete, before we go too, I want to make sure that I do challenge you to watch, because Jeff's going to watch it, and I'm eager to know what he thinks too. That Phantom of the Paradise.
Right on the list. Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah, and this new set that I just showed you tonight is great. It's got DVD and Blu-ray, and it was only like $15, I think. No, maybe it was 25.
I've got a whole list of movies here to watch because I'm so glad you came by because Stuart watched a ton of movies and I don't.
Right.
So it would have been pretty much Stuart just talking to himself tonight.
Seriously.
And me, yeah.
This is my neighbor. Oh, it's hard to control the.
I know.
Oh,
what kind of puppy?
He came in and lay beside me a little while ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
He can't get into the basket, Pete?
He cannot fit in the basket, believe it or not.
Look at that baseball game back there.
Oh, I wanted to mention that every time you do a video, I stare at that baseball game because I remember when it was out originally, and I never.
Is that a Mattel or who is it?
And I never grabbed it.
Rico.
Oh, Rico, yeah. I remember that.
I was telling Stuart I have a whole collection of Bambino electronic games.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of those?
I've not.
I'll have to.
Get a home run right off the get-go. HR.
That is awesome.
Ah.
I just like
I put batteries in it not long ago, so it set it back there. So I like to turn it on every now and again, just so the batteries don't corrode or.
That's like Jeff. He was freaking out when he pulled out all of those old games. He's like, it's still working.
Yeah, I hadn't touched some of those handheld games in probably 10, 15 years, and two of them turned on. I'm like, how the hell is that possible?
With old batteries?
Yeah.
Wow.
There were actual batteries. It wasn't like rechargeable or anything. It was the Wonder Swan and the Neo Geo Pocket. What battery life those things have?
Here, Bren's got a poster there. Here's a fun fact here. The creator of Phantom of the Paradise credits. This is credited to the citizens of Winnipeg for giving that movie almost 50% of its box office.
That's far out. Now, here's a thing for you too, Pete. That was Brian De Palma's first movie.
Brian De Palma's first movie. That's not yesterday, is it?
Mm-mm. No, that Phantom of the Paradise is Brian De Palma's first film.
Wow.
Yeah. So
the Ren. Okay, the Ren's way out Winnipeg. He's like, I think that's mountain time, so it's only like 8:17 there, Ren. Something like that.
Wow, it's pushing 11:30 where you're at, Pete, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 11:18.
Good Lord.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yep. What a great time. Awesome job. Go game go with the Papa Pete. Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks a lot.
I said this to Jeff the other day. I got you both here right now. Go game go is what you do. Go game gone is when you're leaving. But
that's right.
Far is when we're here and now. You'll always be Gogamego to me. Gogamego.
I almost
it just rolls off the tongue. Gogamego.
Doesn't it?
It really
Gogamego.
It does. It does.
Hey,
and
Pete.
I almost put Go Grim. I almost put Go Grim Go tonight.
It works for everything.
Right, it does. Just
Pete, do you want to do the honors of doing the Go Game Gone?
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Everybody in the chat, man, it's been a lot of fun night, and I really can't wait to come back, guys, because I really enjoyed talking about movies like this. We get off kilter a few times, but we always get back onto the horror movies again. And you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it's just a lot of fun, really.
Oh yeah.
So listen, we have so far we're going to talk about Mel Brooks films someday,
Yes.
and we're going to talk about comedy films because I love comedies. I love going back to the 80s though. Even when we start talking about, we should do a show just talking about the old teeny bopper titty movies from the 80s, right?
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that genre.
Well, I used to love them back then. And 80s and 70s wrestling.
Oh,
That's going to be the one where I'll be like, I'm glad you're here, Pete, because if not, Jeff would just be talking to himself.
Jeff and I will carry it as best we can. But
we were on Discord talking back and forth, and I was like, I could talk about wrestling, that old wrestling, even up to like the high school when it switched over from the old school wrestling to WWF. I even like the early stuff because I was still in high school, and I could just talk about it all the time.
Absolutely. There's so much history. I mean, it all sort of started, the conversation started with that Dark Side of the Ring. And that's just an amazing program on
Stuart,
down there.
Stuart, watch that TV show. You don't have to like wrestling at all to enjoy this. They'll take like a one person or maybe a subject, and it's just a documentary about it, and it's really well done. And there's lots of episodes. I didn't know anything about like a certain wrestler or Montreal screw job. I didn't know anything about that. I was like, what the heck was that?
You didn't know the Montreal screw job?
No.
That was one of the ones I knew, but there were definitely some wrestlers I had not even really heard much about at all, and they were incredibly interesting shows. Very, very well done.
Well, then I'll save, just so I have something to say, I'll save my little stories for down the line then.
Right on.
And if you want to watch anything, there's plenty of 70s and 80s wrestling on YouTube.
Yeah, and I'll have to check out this. Now I'm going to say it. I'll have to check this one out about the Shake and see what that is.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. You'll enjoy it because it's a lot of his modern day life too.
How did we in the States ever get to calling it Chic when in fact it's Shake?
I don't know.
Which is the reason.
Chic.
He called himself Chic.
Yeah, you're right. He did, right?
Yep.
Because I'm like, that's why Frank Zappa dressed up in a Shake, the cowl and stuff, and they had an album called Shake Your Booty because it's pronounced Shake.
Yes.
It's kind of weird.
That's terrible.
And Blake says he just started watching that now, and you'll be hooked because it's really good. And season 3 is confirmed. So that was why I had that tweet on earlier this week. Is season 3 is confirmed because the guy who makes that show is actually from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and graduated from the same program that my son graduated from last year. So
wow,
no, it's really the guy still lives there. So Jason Eisner's his name. Actually, when I put the tweet out, he replied, "Hey, thanks a lot," and so pretty cool. Anyway, guys, on that note, thanks again. See you next time, and we'll talk to you soon. Go, game, gone.
Yes.